Toyota is considering recalling the hot-selling Corolla because of power steering complaints. This as the Transportation Department is ordering Toyota to come clean about when it knew about safety defects in its other recalled vehicles. Nicole Ward is here with more information about a new override system as well that Toyota plans on installing. Nicole?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, Toyota-related information here this morning, Marianne. Toyota officials gave an update on global recalls and quality control efforts just this morning. In Tokyo, company leaders told how they plan to fix current problems and avoid them in the future. They said they'll add a, quote, brake override system to all future vehicles that would cut engine power when the gas and brake pedals are applied at the same time. Chief quality officers will serve on the company's new Special Committee for Global Quality, and the head of Toyota North America will testify at upcoming congressional hearings. As for the Corolla, drivers apparently have complained that they feel as though they're losing control over the steering sometimes, though it's unclear exactly why. A company executive says it's still uncertain if a Corolla recall will be necessary, but the company is considering it. The United States wants Toyota to hand over documents, meanwhile, that show how long the company knew about safety defects before taking action. And North County Congressman Carl Issa was in town just yesterday, said the U.S. is committed to getting some answers.
I don't expect this to be political theater, at least not in my committee. Brian and I are dedicated to asking the right questions about what's going to be done going forward, while our committee continues to ask, what did people know, when did they know it, and why didn't they do it sooner? But remember, it's not about gotcha for the past, it's about fixes for the future.
Toyota is reportedly losing $2 billion a month in sales.
And it looks like the feds are turning up the heat on Toyota after that big recall of millions of cars. And there's more problems this morning. The Transportation Department wants to see all of the documents related to the recall. They want to find out if the car maker acted quickly enough. Also, Toyota temporarily closing 2 plants, one of them in Texas, another one in Kentucky, because the car sales are down. A congressional hearing on the sticky gas pedals and the floor mat issues is scheduled for next week. And, of course, Darrell Issa, the local congressman, is very much involved in that. And the Obama administration says they're investigating as well. And a North County congressman who will co-chair next week's hearing, talking about Darrell Issa, of course, toured a local dealership.
Yes, he did, and KUSI's Ed Lenderman went along with him.
We put a scan tool on it.
Vista Republican Representative Darrell Issa is the ranking member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. He invited fellow North County Republican Congressman Brian Bilbray, also a committee member, on a tour of the service department of a well-known Toyota dealership, Toyota of Carlsbad. There may have been a dozen or so cameras, but Issa promised it wasn't a dog and pony show. He wanted, he said, a first-hand look at how local Toyota dealerships are handling a recall that now numbers some 8.5 million vehicles worldwide. He said he's satisfied the service people are working as quickly as possible to make the cars safe.
That will contrast considerably to Washington next week, when we'll be appropriately grilling both the Department of Transportation and Toyota for why it took so long, why they weren't quicker, and whether there needs to be congressional action to force greater transparency between all auto companies and the government.
Toyota may be the focus of the hearing, he said, but the transparency issue involves government regulators and the entire auto industry.
There's questions about whether all the auto companies have periodic problems that aren't large enough for them to put the engineering to work to make sure they find the fixes on.
Open cases, he said, where the government wasn't insisting they be satisfactorily closed in a timely fashion. Both congressmen indicated that Toyota was a victim of its own reputation, and that likely filtered over into the Transportation Department's oversight or lack of oversight. Would, they asked, the government have given GM or Ford the same free ride?
There are a lot of reports and a lot of history that are now vindicated by these recalls. And that's part of the challenge is today at this Toyota dealer, cars are being made safe. The question is, why did it take so long?
We are looking at how Toyota has reacted to this. First of all, they are very apologetic that they didn't get these repairs done sooner.
Asked if there will be repercussions from the hearing, Issa said it was his understanding that Toyota was losing $2 billion a month. Ed Lunderman, KUSI News.
More problems for Toyota this morning, this time surrounding the world's best-selling car. We're talking about the Corolla. Toyota is looking into possible problems with the car's power steering and is considering a recall. Meantime, Toyota's president now says he will not attend a U.S. congressional hearing on the automaker's safety lapses, and that hearing is set to begin today. Meantime, local representatives Darrell Issa and Brian Bilbray are back from D.C., and they're starting their own investigation into Toyota's safety issues. They are looking at how Toyota's maintenance mechanics are handling recalled cars. Issa and Bilbray say they want to get the dealer side of the story before they confront the Congressional Oversight Committee next week.
Why it took so long, why they weren't quicker, and whether there needs to be congressional action to force greater transparency between all auto companies and the government.
Local Toyota dealerships say they are taking in as many cars as they can.
A U.S. lawmaker has visited a Toyota dealership to find out how recalls are being handled by the Japanese automaker. Darrell Issa, a senior Republican on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, made the visit in San Diego, California on Tuesday. Issa received explanations on how the dealership is modifying accelerator pedals to fix a safety glitch and how it is addressing customers' concerns.
The dealership is doing a good job of taking care of the customers. In Washington, we have a separate job of making sure in the future this doesn't happen.
He added that he intends to find out at an upcoming congressional hearing as to why Toyota and the U.S. government failed to take prompt action. The lawmaker reiterated his request for Toyota President Akio Toyoda to attend the hearing on February 24th and not to miss the opportunity to explain the automaker.
Bad news continues for Toyota. The automaker is now looking into possible power steering problems in Corollas.
Meantime, the government wants to know why there wasn't more urgency by the company as complaints grew. Tara Merchner has more on Toyota's troubles.
Good morning, Dan and Nichelle. Well, the company says it is taking complaints about the Corolla very seriously, and that means another possible recall for the world's best-selling car.
Toyota's troubles appear to be far from over. The company admitted this morning it's now looking into possible power steering problems with its Corolla subcompact. Already dealing with 2 major recalls, executives also announced that all future models would have a new brake override system, but U.S. officials want more. On Tuesday, they ordered the auto giant to provide documents showing how and when it first learned of flaws in its accelerator and brake systems. U.S. law requires manufacturers to notify the government within 5 days of discovering a safety defect and quickly issue a recall. Toyota has 30 to 60 days to respond. If federal regulators determine the company didn't act fast enough, Toyota could get slapped with fines of more than $16 million.
Congress is also investigating Toyota and the response of U.S. transportation officials. A House hearing has been set for next week, but Toyota's president says he won't be attending, leaving other executives to answer the tough questions.
Why they weren't quicker, and whether there needs to be congressional action to force greater transparency between all auto companies and the government.
Representative Darrell Issa will co-chair the upcoming grilling. He visited a Toyota dealership Tuesday.
At this Toyota dealer, cars are being made safe. The question is, why did it take so long?
Toyota's recent problems are having a ripple effect on its sales. Concerns about unsold cars have forced the company to idle production in 3 states.
And those states are Texas, Kentucky, and Alabama.
A local congressman wants to know who knew what and when in regard to Toyota's massive recall. Congressman Darrell Issa toured Toyota Carlsbad today, where recall repairs are being done. He says he wants to see what's happening on the front line of the repairs before he questions government officials and Toyota executives about the recall. The local dealership says that it can't comment about the car maker's timeliness in issuing the recall, but says they acted as quickly as possible to start making the repairs. While Issa admits his congressional committee doesn't have the power to punish wrongdoing, he believes the investigation will make a difference.
The focus of government will be to ensure that the systems are better going forward. The transparency and accountability will be better because we're not letting go of this until that has occurred.
Earlier in the month, we only had 40-plus technicians. We're going to increase our staff to almost 60 technicians. We're standing by, available to do repairs as we speak.
The hearings will begin next week. Even though Toyota's CEO was invited to testify at the hearings, it is unclear if he will even attend.
New overnight, Toyota President Akio Toyoda will not testify before Congress about his company's safety problems, sending Toyota's American executives instead. And more importantly, overnight, Toyota began looking into power steering problems with their popular Corolla subcompact, the world's best-selling car. The automaker didn't provide any more details, just that it's considering recalling certain model years of Corolla after it examines the power steering complaints more closely. Mark Saylor's relatives are expected to testify before Congress about the crash in Santee last year, which killed the CHP officer and his family. Congressman Darrell Issa of Vista will co-chair the hearings into 34 deaths associated with sudden acceleration in Toyota products. Yesterday, Issa visited the Toyota dealership in Carlsbad to see what the company's doing on the local level to fix the problems. Issa said his congressional hearings will focus on why years of complaints didn't result in